This article that he's written is very much about the search for a conservative safe space. Okay, so let's just dive into it. This is an article that he wrote at his blog this past week at the American Conservative, and the title of it is America at the Movies 2016. And in this article, he relates a story that his friend told him. So this is sort of like, a game of telephone we're playing here. But when I read this to you, I just, for you, the listener, first of all, if you haven't done so already, do what we always do. Google image search Rod Dreher. So, you can like have a picture in your mind for when we roast the shit out of this motherfucker. But and number two is when I read this to you, just try to imagine an adult human being believing any of this story, or at least pretending to believe it to write a column. Okay, you guys ready? Rod begins. I just got a phone call from an old friend in North Texas. She does a lot of work with law enforcement, especially in the area of domestic violence counseling and response. I hope she will not mind me saying, but she's a tough Texas chick. She called to tell me what she and her teenage son dealt with last night at the movies in Frisco, a prosperous suburb of Dallas. I thought I knew what was going on in this country, she said. I was wrong. Okay, you guys ready for this? By the way, she related this whole story to Rod over like a video chat in a dark room, holding a flashlight under her chin the entire time when she told him this story. She had taken her teenage son to see Captain America: Civil War for his birthday. In line behind them,
nerd.
We'll get to that in a second, but in line behind them, waiting to buy tickets, stood several men in their early 30s who were obviously transgendered, and a young woman who presented as a man, though she was plainly a female. My friend, quote, N, she's being referred to as N throughout the story, and his friend's name is actually just the N-word. Okay, so my friend N-word said the group started talking about sex, including their favorite positions, their favorite sex toys, you name it. One of the group was 20. An older transgender said to him, quote, you're just a kid now, but when you turn 21, we're going to take you out and get you broken in. They proposed an orgy. Okay, so that's just one paragraph right now, but there's already so much to discuss about this. So where do you guys want to begin with this story?
All right, let's start off with the nerd kid who is probably going to end up like Rod Dreher because he is asexual and is like, oh boy, I'm turning 15. I sure as hell don't want to drink Red Dog and have a sexual experience. I want my mom, who is friends with Rod Dreher, that's what a fucking weirdo my mom is, to take me to see Captain America.
Yeah, so it's her teenage son on his birthday wants to go to see a Marvel movie with his mom and no one else. That's the first box we're going to tick off on just one paragraph. The second is who the fuck waits in line to buy tickets at a movie theater anymore?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but if you're not buying them online and you're waiting around the lobby like a fucking asshole, you deserve to be harassed.
Okay. That's two. Next there is this gang of transgenders. And this starts out, keep in mind, he says several men in their early 30s. They're waiting behind them in line, and there's one who's a female who presents as a man. And they start talking about sex, including their favorite positions, their favorite sex toys, you name it. And he closes the paragraph by saying, they proposed an orgy. What I love about this is this is clearly the invention in the mind of someone who never thinks or talks about sex, trying to invent what they think someone who's really dirty and uncouth would talk about. Hello, fellow sex perverts. Might you share with me your favorite sex position and toy? I like the vibrating egg that goes in my asshole. Would you like to have an orgy later?
Yeah, it's like 40-year-old virgin. They're all like, oh, I can't wait till we get down with sex later. I hope we jump up and down in the bed and you touch my butt and we feel both of our penises and I put the skin of mine on yours.
Okay.
I'm going to blow into your butthole. It's going to be amazing. And of course, you got the extra hilarity of them saying, you're a 20-year-old kid, but wait till your next birthday. Then we're going to bust you out. You're thinking of the drinking age, moron.
Yeah,
There's nowhere in the country is the legal sexual consent age 21. You're thinking of the drinking age.
And this is funny because he introduces it by saying his friend N-Word works with law enforcement in the area of domestic violence counseling and response. You'd think she would know the difference between the drinking age and the age of consent law. I don't know. Maybe it's different.
I also like how they proposed an orgy. Like, that's how, if we all remember our favorite Chapo reading, which was Ross Dudat's Sex Cruise with William F. Buckley and Jamie Kirchick. It's like something that William F. Buckley would have said then. Ducky, I propose an orgy.
What say you, young gentlemen? Are you up for it, or is your blood just not strong enough?
Oh, William, I would love to have an orgy. I really, really would.
There was general consensus on the excellence of having an orgy.
I certainly would, Mr. Buckley, but I did not bring my cock ring. Oh, don't worry. We have a whole bushel full. Here, use this one. It was Augusto Pinochet's favorite.
Ben, boat boy Ben, could you fetch me the vibrating egg, please, and firmly insert it into my rectum?
Jamie said, oh, I don't know if I'm ready to have an orgy. And I said, Jamie, there comes a time in a man's life that he must look back and think, oh, I could have told my grandchildren that I had my boy pussy stretched out by William F. Buckley.
But this is the difference between conservatives and these radical genderqueer freaks, is that conservatives need to go on a boat into international waters before they do all this filth away from the ears
where anything's
children.
Legal, baby. And they're afraid to say no because there's nowhere else to be.
Well, it's just at least away from the tender ears of teenage boys trying to go to a movie with their mother. Okay, but back to the story. That's just one paragraph, and we already noticed about 5 just glaring fucking, I don't even know what to, just 5 red flags already. So back to Rod here. He says, on and on like this. Okay, keep in mind he said there were several transgender men waiting with them online. Now it goes on. More transgenders joined them, not waiting in line, but moving towards the front to stand with their friends. N told me that the trans group was very aware of itself and did not care who heard their filthy talk. The trans group has become self-aware, people.
On May 2016, Transnet became self-aware. This is when the war...
It launches a bunch of dick-shaped rockets at everybody.
My CPU is a neural net processor, a fucking computer.
I know why you go to the correct bathroom, but it is something that I cannot do.
Come on me if you want to live.
Okay, sorry. Why didn't you go to the theater management and ask them to say something to the transgenders? I said. Because the group would have known it was me, she said. I would have had to have left the line. Plus, in this environment, I doubted they would have done anything. Nobody wants to risk being called a bigot.
This fucking line for the movie theater that's like a goddamn Soviet bread line. Or like a line at Six Flags.
Yeah, you don't want to lose. And let's be honest, they wouldn't respect, holding any place in line. They would just cut you right away. She said that after they went into the theater, but before the movie started, the trans group continued their foul, verbally abusive behavior. N asked her son if he wanted to go to the bathroom before the movie started. He told her he did not feel safe doing that. Okay, so you knew that was coming. And okay,
gotta be about the bathrooms, man. Always comes back to the bathrooms.
It's coming back to the bathrooms, obviously. But there's 2 things to note about this. First of all, we've already noted how weird it is that a teenage boy on his birthday is going to see a movie alone with his mother. Number 2, she's asking them before the movie starts if he needs to go to the bathroom. She's like checking in with him to see if he needs to pee, like he's maybe 5 or 6 years old. And then number 2, if these are men who are trans women, if these are trans women, they would be using the ladies' bathroom.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing that makes them
the
horrifying.
Whole fucking point.
If they were into the men's room, that would be what they're supposed to do, according to these assholes.
Yeah, your N-word, your son, N-word Jr., would be perfectly safe going to the men's bathroom at the movie theater because the trans women, you were in danger, and she doesn't even realize
they're trying to molest women and girls. That's the whole thing that makes it bad. You don't even know your own bullshit story.
According to N-word and Rod Dreher, it's like trans people, do not go to the bathroom of your genitalia. Do not go to the other bathroom. Don't even go to the bathroom. Just figure something out. It's ridiculous.
Shit in your fucking popcorn box. That's your only option.
That would be that's more filth. Okay. Rod goes on. It was he's sort of like moving out of the story and into his commentary about this 100% real story, this real thing that happened. Again, I just want to call back. Keep in mind how many they were when the story began. It was just one night at the movies, granted, and any sort of person could be a jackass at the movies. What got to N was that this trans group, she described them as over 20 people. So in the course of a few paragraphs, it went from being 4 transgenders to a group of over 20, like a mob, like a fucking wilding gang of transgenders.
What does that mean? Rise.
That this group of 20 people was so confident in itself that its members thought they had no responsibility to anyone or else around them or to respect civility. That and the fact that no one dared confront them over their obnoxious behavior, either not wanting the hassle or thinking that nothing would be done by the authorities running the theater, because trans folk are this week's chosen people. That's all a theater chain needs. National headlines saying that it is hateful to trans people.
This is the scene from one of those Kevin Sorbo God's Not Dead movies, and you could plot it out immediately in your head if you just imagine it. Like a young woman, maybe Melissa Joan Hart, is there with her son, and she goes to a movie theater manager and she says, "Can you do something about these people?" And he just looks at the camera.
Are gender fluiding, my boy.
Yeah, they're all over the place. And he looks into the camera and says, "Sorry, lady. That's just how things are now."
By the way, if you wish any of those transgenders a Merry Christmas, you are going to jail.
Okay, so here's where it actually turns to, I think, like, if this story wasn't weird enough already, like, here's the kind of turn at the end of it that really, like, kicks it into a really dark place. Rod says, after our conversation, N texted, "I found it very ironic that we went to see the movie Civil War last night. What I watched go on outside that theater while we were in line and inside the theater made me realize a civil war is coming. It is undeniable at this point. I kept thinking, someday. You know how you think that? Someday it'll get bad. Someday we'll have to take a hard stand. Someday people will be persecuted for their beliefs. Rod, it's not someday anymore. It's in our face, and I can easily see where this erupts into extreme violence. I can easily see where a civil war is coming." So she takes this fucking made up story, this obviously bullshit story about a gang of transgenders at the Captain America movie, and fucking uses it as an excuse to start fantasizing about some like Turner Diaries type shit.
Yeah, I mean, let's think about this. Let's assume, and this is a massive assumption, that this actually happened. Let's take that leap, that massive leap. What is more disturbing behavior? Some people being assholes at movie theater, which happens every day, everywhere, regardless of people's gender presentation, or someone watching people be a dick at a movie theater and thinking, "I can't wait until it's legal for me to murder you."
I mean that, like, when you say it like that, it's fucking plainly obvious. Like, think how fucking disturbing that is. Like, think how fucking like how warped the mindset of, like, where, again, like, this whole point of this thing is how victimized like Rod and N and her beautiful teenage son are. But like, they're literally using like some like you said, if we're gonna take this at face value, some people being rude in a movie theater and then fantasizing about how the day will come soon for extreme violence. But like,
the cleansing fires will come.
One day a real rain will come and wash all this trans scum out of our movie theater.